really, there was a question that confused us all. Maybe it made sense.
Oh, you guys are gonna make her feel so bad.
No, it just confused us. It was like, if you could be one character in a musical, in one of your musicals, but it wasn't a character from one of our musicals. Any character in a musical. If you could create, and we said, huh? We didn't, but we took it to mean, who's your favorite character in all of fiction? Exchange. And then,
So, hey Walker, come in here.
Yeah, Walker, come on.
You guys, he's gonna take Joe Walker's place.
Yeah.
So.
Good morning.
This is my replacement.
Yeah.
So basically we rambled and didn't talk about anything interesting, kind of like now. Does anybody have any interesting or thought-provoking questions?
Yeah.
What are your long-term goals for Starkid?
Oh, he's Starkid.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, number one, existing for all eternity. I don't know. I mean, it sort of depends on who you ask in the group a little bit, but probably I think that what we want to do is we first and foremost want to be able to continue making shows and have them improve. That would be cool. For them to get better and better, just in various ways. Just to, grow and learn as, and improve, once again, as professionals. But then also, I think that, there's sort of thoughts, we sort of have this, like, we started doing the tours, so there's sort of this other production arm, it's like we're sort of growing different mutating as a company a little bit, which is interesting to see what happens, and it's kind of new territory for us. So I think that is something that we will try to nurture and continue as time goes on.
I think to a certain extent we're just playing it by ear.
I mean, we're totally playing it by ear. We're thinking about buying a theme park. once we can play.
You guys, I just saw Dad on the elevator with his two little kids, and they get in, and he goes, "Just like the Tower of Terror, isn't it?" And the kids were like,
Yep, so I think that's an answer. Any other?
I was wondering, what was some of your favorite parts that got cut out of Starship?
Probably none of it. That's why.
No, there were so many good parts. I talked about one last night where Joe was like, up high, down low, in the middle, cut the pickle. And then also there was a part where Brian was like, I'm the one who sends out all the emails. And he had like a toy parrot on his shoulder.
That's really
I also what got cut out was Joey's transformation. Do you remember? Like, when we brought out the ship and turned it around.
Oh, from the video?
That was just, I think, I just really enjoyed doing that because Meredith and I would we'd sit backstage and we'd go, first of all, we'd make fun of Dylan. We'll just and during Kick It Up and Notch, I'd go, oh, is that a dream that you wanna go? And I think Dylan sounds like the oldest man ever, and I just imagine this like old Prince of being like, what is that a dream? And then I'd do it for Meredith every night, and she'd go, when I look at you, I can't see your face because it's too dark. And I go, no, look how funny this is. She's like, I can't see what you're something. And then we'd walk out this spaceship, this giant, or this cryo tube, the giant cryo tube, and we'd turn it around and Joey would go.
Yeah, it was this like 10-minute scene where nothing happened. It was like took forever, and then all it was it's Joey.
Yeah.
And you're like this can get cut. One of the original versions of Starship that just totally doesn't exist anymore. There's a really good joke that made us laugh a lot, which was yes, Captain. Because once upon a time it was sort of like, yeah, if you're trying to remember the joke, it was one of the original versions. It was way more like Star Trek.
Yeah.
And there was like a bridge, and there were people. It was just like Star Trek. So there were characters walking around, and up was like the commander, and he would say stuff, and people would go, "Yes, Captain."
It's just that all the crew, their only lines were, "Yes, Captain." And then at one point, he said something else, and then was so shocked and said, "Did you just say something else?" And he said, "Yes, Captain." It's a stupid joke. You can see why.
Yeah, I mean that whole.
Why we didn't need to have it.
Exactly. Those are the good ones. The ones you really don't need.
You just don't need them. Anything else?
Do a lot of, or most of the jokes come from a formal collaborative writing process, or I mean, this was the year last night, you guys just are friends and hang out a lot. How much of it is you're just sitting around and someone goes, "Hey, wouldn't it be funny if?" I mean, is there that kind of...
Well, it happens amongst the writers. It's not like it's not like a group of like 12 people will be hanging out and say, "Hey, I have an idea for a show. What if this was in it?" Or, "Hey, you should put this joke in this show that you're writing." It doesn't really happen like that. It's the writers will sit around and joke around, and yeah, and then basically if anything else gets added or other people's contributions come in during rehearsal, if somebody decides to do something differently, if we make something up, then rehearsal's definitely more collaborative. But no, it's not like a big, huge communal thing where there's 30 people all going, "I think this is funny, this is funny."
So I feel like also you guys have jokes that sort of spring out of just everyday life that you have and then eventually work into the show somewhere.
Yeah. Sometimes stuff will happen and we'll put it into a show. Like somebody will do something we think is funny and put it into a show. But yeah, it's mainly the writers, right?
But it's more of a formal process, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
We don't know a lot about the shows at all until we get them. Like if you're not a writer, until we all hang out and talk about it. But before that, it is kind of a mystery, for sure.
That was a good question.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
So how long does it take to put a show together?
It really, I think it all depends on how ambitious you want to be, and also how natural the writing process goes. If it's a good idea and everything goes smoothly, it can be as short as, we've done things as short as like 3 months. But yeah,
I think it also depends when you start. When do you start counting? As
when do you start counting that we're starting the show?
Is it sitting down to actually start writing the script? But usually prior to that, there's months, if not years, of just the idea gestating.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. Some of the shows are years and years of like jokes or ideas sort of put together. I'd say the actual sitting down to write the script, maybe how we do it, it takes about a month of actual typing, and then the actual production maybe takes 3-4 months. So we do it incredibly fast. That's pretty unheard of in any professional theater. I mean, Book of Mormon took like 7 years to put on. And we don't do any workshops of anything we do. It's just we do it once and that's it. So I'm sure we could take a whole lot more time with stuff, and that would probably improve the quality, but we don't care that much. So that was another good question. Excellent.
Do you think you'll ever make it to the UK?
Gosh, I hope so.
I know, I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
I think it's possible. I think a tour is more likely than a show. Logistically, getting overseas, just to get a certain number of people is very, very, very expensive. Then if you're talking about trying to get a set overseas, I would even have no clue how to do it. Like, would you put it on a boat? And I'm seriously not joking. I thought about that and I said, a plane's not big enough. You couldn't get it.
Or would be expensive. I mean, they have like cargo.
Yeah, they probably should. But how much would a cargo plane cost?
Well, if you put it on a boat, you could certainly save it.
Nice. So, I think the answer is maybe.
Probably like
It's just a matter of when.
yeah, a matter of when and what
How much?
and how much.
Yeah, and if there's enough money. Yes.
What was your favorite scene to perform?
I haven't done
Is this for all the plays we've been in and stuff? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll let Denise start this one.
Ooh, I'm racking my brain. I really like the first time that I was ever on stage ever for a Starkid show, and that was just the scene 3, because I loved like the animals. I loved originally like there was supposed to be a ballet in like the forest, like that was like tossed around, but I don't know. It was just like really special. I've never been a part of something like this before, and like that first opening night was like, whoa! Like I'm going on the stage for the first time in front of tons of people that like want to know like who is this person? And, like it's a new person, and it was awesome. It was really incredible. That was like very special memories, and I also really like Brian Holden going like.
I always thought Brant was a very good little animal in that scene.
Yeah.
Brant Cox, he really seemed like he was like gossiping. He was like,
I also really liked Beauty too.
yeah. I was like doing the scene with Mama with Nick with Mama Umbridge. I think the Mama Umbridge scene was really funny because it's so deranged. I was like that whole scene a little bit was to use a phrase from last night seemed like a little bit of a flying machine. The whole scene a little bit where we were always like ha 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 like. It's funny because she's homicidal. And, like, it was the scene very much. I don't know, this scene makes me feel weird. And we were like, it's the funniest scene, right? We feel weird because it's the funniest. Not so much, but I always like that scene a lot. I also really like the, I don't know how many of you have seen our second show, Me and My Dick. Woo! There's the Act 1 opener song.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the Act 2 opener song. No, take that back. Take back the chain. The Act 2 opener of The Land of the Lost Dicks is probably the coolest song we've ever done. It's the coolest song we've ever done. So I think that's up there for me.
That was cool.
Yeah,
because it had all those horns.
Yeah, we had a brass section in that show.
That was
It's
awesome.
really cool.